Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to the channel. I've been hard at work the last couple of years developing this empty lot into my dream acreage, but the best part is that I've been bringing you all along for the ride and showing you every single satisfying detail. Okay guys, when we left off in the last episode, I had started on the hugely ambitious task of getting the peninsula and all the tree lines mulched, which meant one thing. I was going to need a heck of a lot more mulch than my tree trimming friends could bring me. Queue up multiple semi-loads full, and the scope of the project was coming into focus. This is going to be a ton of work. And speaking of a ton of work, so is trying to control all the weeds that I'm growing out here. After a couple of days spent hammering the weeds with my Honda trimmer, I was exhausted and needed to refuel.
Now, when I'm working hard on my acreage, I don't have time to cook myself a big and healthy meal. That's why today's sponsor, Factor, is a lifesaver. With delicious, chef-prepared, ready-to-eat meals in just 2 minutes, you can get back to baking in the summer sun or working out in your yard like me. Factor takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success. You can choose from a weekly menu of 35 different options, and they've got more than 60 add-ons every week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, and beverages to help you stay fueled and keep you feeling good all day long. Factor has so many nutritious options for keeping my fridge well stocked, like smoothies and juices perfect for snacking. But the reason I choose Factor is that it cuts down on grocery trips, and I just really don't like cooking. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50geek to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50geek at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Alright, well, if you guys don't mind, we're going to rewind things a couple of weeks from where the last video ended, because I forgot to include this footage in that one, and I really wanted to basically do a walk around of the whole yard with you guys and take a closer look in a few areas. Here's a quick look around the yard where you can see there is a ton of weeds growing pretty much everywhere. That's the one downfall to having good soil, is that all kinds of weeds are going to love it too, and of course all the new topsoil that I brought in over the last couple of years doesn't help, because it's been full of weeds too. Now as we approach the eco buffer here, you can see that it's all looking really good. Honestly, it's hard for me to believe that it looks like this after only being planted a little over a year ago. We'll come back to this in a little bit, and I'll take you on a guided walkthrough. But for now, we'll continue over to the area behind the shop, where I've got a bunch of perennials planted here that I brought from my last house in the city. They're just here temporarily until I've got a permanent place to plant them. Moving to the back where my garden is planted, and again, almost everything is doing well here. I've got a nice little pumpkin patch, some acorn squash, peas, carrots, beets, tomatoes, lettuce, peppers, onions, dill, and then I've also got some pumpkins and zucchini behind the shop as well. Also over here is the huge pile of weeds that I've been building over the last little while. I think I'd mentioned in the last video that I've been pulling some of the weeds and then have weed whacked the rest, but I do have something special planned for this pile, which I think will be in either the next video or the one after that, so definitely make sure you tune in for that one. Okay guys, it's time to go in for a closer look to see how everything is growing, starting behind the shop, where I've got some zucchini and pumpkins growing, both of which I was never able to grow in the city because my garden just wasn't big enough, so it's really nice to have the space for them now. Taking a look at my spruce trees now, and like you've seen in previous videos, they're still working on recovering from the rough winter they had, and while some of them aren't looking great right now, I'm still holding out hope that they can bounce back and send out some new buds. A little further up and my lilac row starts, and overall they're all looking pretty good, though I have to say I do wish they were growing a little faster than they are. Carrying on now, and on this side of the yard, there's a few larger trees that were here when I bought the lot, like some silver poplar, a couple of Manitoba maples that I decided not to pull out when I yanked the rest 2 years ago, and then a larger spruce that was given to me by a family member. My tree nursery is also over here, so I've got a bunch of tiny little spruce and pine trees that are almost being overrun by weeds. Definitely need to take care of that. Moving on to the back tree line now, where all my Saskatoon berry bushes are, and I know these aren't going to produce fruit quite yet, but I can't wait until they do. Hopefully it'll be next year. Aside from the berry bushes though, I've got a ton of other trees here, including a few rows of spruce and pine, and then the very back row at the fence is sort of just a mishmash of random trees and bushes. There's some poplar and green ash that I moved over here from a couple of years ago, and a bunch of small bushes. But aside from that, and there's a couple of my favorite trees in the whole yard back here, including this pine tree right here, that for whatever reason is just incredibly happy and basically a perfect specimen of a tree. Now over by the septic field where there's even more weeds growing out of control, I've got a few large oak trees planted. Well, they're actually tiny oak trees right now, but someday when I'm old they'll be huge. You probably can't see it very well, but there's only 2 rows of trees here, as I didn't want to plant anything too close to the septic field, and because it's a bit sloped up here, this area has been growing a little slower than the rest, so I really need to start watering it more. Moving to my happy place now, and that's the eco buffer. Now before I go into detail here, if you're new to the channel, I'd suggest watching the video I did where I planted all these trees, as I go into detail about what an eco buffer is and why I planted one. You'll get to see how most of these trees and shrubs came in the mail as tiny little sticks about 14 months ago, and the rationale for why each one was planted where they are. Fast forward to now though, and I'm honestly shocked at how everything is coming along, especially the poplars, which I swear have grown a good 6 feet already this year, so in just 3 short months. It's absolutely crazy. Again, just to recap the idea of an eco buffer, it's basically 5 rows of trees and shrubs planted 3 feet apart that's going to self-propagate and turn into a really nice thick bush. So it goes very against the grain of what a tree line typically looks like. Basically, I don't want to see my neighbors, so this eco buffer is going to get me some good privacy in just a few short years.
This is one of my favorite bushes. This is a purple leaf sand cherry. It's so nice. Such nice color. You cannot get over. These poplars were about as thick as my finger, maybe, in this spring. And now I can't even get my hand around it. It's insane. They grow like a weed because they basically are a weed. But very necessary. Get some privacy in here. And this guy, I lost him about a month ago. I don't really understand why. It was like always such a super bendy tree. Like his trunk was not strong. And there's a gopher hole down there too, just down in here. So I don't know if the gopher chewed through the roots or burrowed around them and it lost stability. That should be a lesson. Don't plant big trees. Always plant small so they have a chance to grow. Get good roots established. So these poplar trees have been the victim of some sort of a beetle. I can't remember its name, but it has been munching on the leaves quite a bit. And I don't think it is a nuisance. Like it's not something you want around. So I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't become a bigger problem. I don't have to really take pesticide to these trees, because if I do, I'm gonna kill everything. And that's not what I want to do. I just want to kill the damn beetle, not everything else. But it's decimated some of these poplars here. Seeing my trees and my plants and my shrubs and everything doing well always makes me happy, which is why I love coming in here, because there's tons and tons of different trees and shrubs and stuff, and they're all, generally speaking, very happy. trunks on these things. Huge. Not sure yet if I'm going to regret these poplars. I mean, they're so important because they grow so fast and they'll give you privacy. But they do like to send shoots up all over the place. And they're growing so big, so fast that they could end up choking out some of these other trees in here. Choke them off sunlight, nutrients and all that. They're so big already. So this poplar here is at least 10 feet tall. And it was a stick last June. It was about 14 months ago. It was a stick. About a 10-inch tall stick. That is crazy. So this front row here, I planted maples, Amur maples. I believe they're the shrub form, so they should get like 10-ish feet tall, which would kind of be perfect. Of privacy from the road, and they turn a nice red color in the fall. Here's another really happy Scots pine. Always love to see that. Past winter was so hard on all the spruce and the pines. It's so much of them that they look dead brown after the winter. A lot of them come back really nice. I'm not sure what they'll end up looking like down the road, if they'll be scraggly, ugly trees, or if they will grow back and look nice, but can't give up hope on these anyways. So this is an Ohio buckeye tree, and these nuts that it produces, they start off really super spiky, and then they grow into this, and they are, I believe, very poisonous. So I'll have to try to keep Mike out of here because, you know, they kind of look like Timbits, and probably shouldn't let him eat them.
All right guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I've been wanting to make it for a little while now so I could show you guys up close how all the trees are doing. So if you enjoyed it, please let me know down in the comments. It's not something I'm going to do all the time, but if you guys liked it and want to see another one down the road, then just let me know. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I should have another video out to you guys very soon.